Around the Ozarks is now on your FM radio. Listen to Around the Ozarks mornings with Grace Gooley as I spotlight local people, stories, and podcasts, all while playing the country legends of the 90s and the hit makers of the 2000s. It's on the Ozarks' best country, 105.1 The Bull.
Fishing's better when you share the experience. Meet new fishing partners through the Co-Angler app. Offer trips, request trips, connect with anglers in your area, and share the cost. Make every trip more affordable and more fun. Co-Angler, connecting anglers one trip at a time.
Welcome to Beyond the Gate, a podcast sharing the grit, growth, and spirit of rural life. From fields to front porches, this is where the heart of agriculture comes alive. Today we go behind the gate with a man who wears many, many hats. A mechanic, a coach, a recruiter, an event planner, a mentor, a therapist, a bus driver. But more importantly, he is an ag teacher. Jay Shepard, welcome to the studio.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jamie. Appreciate you letting me come.
Well, we're going to dive deep into agriculture education, each of those hats. And I know I missed many, those hats that you wear.
Yeah.
And some hats you don't want to wear, but you end up wearing. I think I even forgot friend in there.
Yeah.
But let's dive deep into Jay.
Sure.
Outside of teaching.
Well, I am married to my wife, Crystal. We met in college at Missouri State, Southwest
Bears.
Missouri State. And we've been married since then and been married 26 years. And then I've got a son that is Cade Shepard. He's 24, and he's been just graduated from University of Arkansas, and he's a field man for Vital Farms. Mm-hmm. And then I have a daughter that is a freshman in high school, and she's in our program, and so her name's Cameron, and so she's just starting through her FFA stuff, and so that's kind of us. We have a small farm, and we are members of the Miller Christian Church, and that's important. And
raise some Herefords on the side.
Yeah, raise some Hereford cattle, and so that's something else we do. So
well, we are both born and bred in Lawrence County, Southwest Missourians.
Yep.
I was trying to reminisce and think through when I first met you. It was probably at a Hereford something or FFA something.
Well, I don't know what you remember, but what I remember was when we moved from Arkansas in, I think, 1990, we got involved in 4-H, and we were trying to find somebody. We went over to your house, and your dad we were having a clipping demonstration.
I remember that.
Is that okay?
So that would have been.
That's what I remember.
I was in kindergarten.
Okay. I would have been about a 8th grader, probably.
Okay.
So that's what
1990. I would have been in kindergarten. Okay, so and from there, I go back and I think of you. Really, just live down the road.
Not too far from your house, and go by it often. Still,
and
so
both raised small little Hereford herds, and agriculture education became was near and dear in our hearts. So I remember you coming over, working with Dad, and working on the Creed.
Yeah, so he taught me how to give the Creed, and that's always kind of a good memory because when I did that, I had no idea what I was doing, just like any freshman. They don't know what they're doing, public speaking. But I just remember being in your kitchen there, and he'd say, okay, do it again, do it again. And
do it again.
Do it like this. And I'd think I was doing it like that, and he'd say, nope, not like that, do it like this. And so went over that hundreds of times. And I think we went to the district contest. I think I was the alternate. And always got beat by girls. But
little resentment.
I did. And so but we worked a lot on speeches, and the cool thing is he's the one that taught me to do that. And so with what I've done now with teaching public speaking, I mean, we've had a lot of success with public speaking, and so I might not have been that as successful. I did get on the stage one year, top 4 in the state, and that was fun. But it took a lot. I didn't have any success until that year, and so that was a lot of fun. But all the success I've had now teaching is because of what he did. Yeah.
Well, I think we all would probably recite the FFA Creed the same, right?
Yep. we would, and my daughter just got done competing with that too.
Oh,
So,
that's exciting.
Yeah.
So many memories
Yeah.
of growing up together. But we're going to talk about agriculture education today.
Sure.
I like to call myself a retired ag teacher.
Yeah.
No benefits. I lasted in the classroom 2 years and then went
Yeah.
into industry.
Yeah.
And many other teachers have similar stories. They jump into the industry because it's hard.
It's a hard job.
So when did you know agriculture education was for you?
Well, it's kind of funny because when I was a senior in high school, I just figured, I guess I'll go be an ag teacher. Now, I don't.
Who was your ag teacher?
Jim Spencer
Okay.
and Albie Boss.
Albie
my
Boss, Jim
teachers.
Spencer.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that was a long time ago, and it's kind of interesting. But I will remember one time. I'm pretty sure your dad and I were hauling hay and putting square bales in that old barn at your house in the
Yep.
loft, and we were just unloading hay, throwing them in there, and I was a scrawny little freshman, or I don't remember how old it was, but anyway, it was hard. And so, but I remember him saying, you ought to be an ag teacher, and I thought, I don't have any idea what I want to do. But he was the one that first put that idea in my head, and then, I do have a little different path in that I just decided my senior year that's what I was going to do, and I never changed. And so I don't know why, but probably as you look back now, it was probably a calling, but I didn't know what that was at the time, And so that's what it was.
How
I didn't
we
know
expect these young 17, 18, 19-year-olds to decide, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It
A lot of
is.
pressure.
Yeah, most people don't do that. And
No.
But again, I think it was just a calling. That's what I was going to do. But I didn't understand that's what it was when I was doing that.
So you went to Missouri State.
Yep.
When it was Southwest Missouri State.
Yep.
It changed my sophomore year, so I was a dual.
Yeah. So I was always lobbying for that because I had a hat that I bought at the mall that said Missouri State University. I wore it all over the place. So
you were part of the reason you finally became
I think it's a
Missouri
good
State.
deal.
You should
Yes,
take credit for that.
yes.
So you went to Missouri State, majored in agriculture education. How did those years in college, give me some examples of how that prepared you for the classroom?
Yeah, so had a good experience. Dr. Jim Hutter was our professor. He just recently retired last year.
That's right.
Done it for 36 years. So he did a great job teaching us. We had a class of about 15 people when I graduated. I tell people all the time, probably one of the most successful class of ag teachers there was, because most of us stayed in the profession a long time and been very successful in different ways. And, but he did a great job of just being very pragmatic and practical about how we learn to teach. I remember when we first started what we used to call our block classes, he was talking about the Madeline Hunter method of teaching or the Socratic questioning method. And I'm like, Dr. Hutter, what are you talking about? And so I said, why don't you tomorrow, can you just come show us, just act like we're high school kids and just teach it and teach us something and show us what you're talking about. And so he did. And after that, that's when it kind of like, okay, I understand what we're doing now. Yeah.
It clicked.
Yeah. So he did a great job teaching that, very pragmatic. And then I student taught at Chillicothe, Missouri.
Oh, another great program.
And went there with the intention with Tom Howard to just go to one of the good programs, go to a different region of the state, did it on purpose. Was there during Chillicothe's heyday, I think. I student taught with David Nolan, probably the single smartest guy I've ever met, and he was tremendous to learn from. And then Rusty Black was there, who's a state senator now. And then Keith Deachold was teaching there, who
Legends.
Yeah, was now the state FFA advisor, who's about to retire from that job. And so they learned a lot from all those guys. And then also there's a guy named Jim Grossinger there, who was a legend in teaching ag economics. So just had the opportunity to learn from 4 of the best teachers in the state. Yeah.
So in the classroom in college, you're going through a whole slew of curriculum. You're not just taking agriculture education classes, because an ag major, you're required to take all these other classes as well as the gen eds. So were there some key lessons there, or how would you, and maybe how has it changed? What are they being taught in the classroom today?
Yeah, there was obviously we had a lot of great agriculture teachers at Missouri State at that time. We had, I took classes from Dr. Elliott. We had Dr. Fuquay, Dr. Irwin, Dr. Johnson, several of those guys that, along with Dr. Hutter, that just did a great job teaching their content. Dr. James. So I remember learning from all those guys, and they taught hard. It was hard. We had to learn a lot about agriculture. So a lot of things I didn't know. So that we had some really tremendous teachers teaching us agriculture. And then on top of that, we have to take education classes, still similar today, which was over in Hill Hall, and teach it or take those with many of the other education disciplines, all those classes. And so, but really when we got into those ag ed classes is when we learned what we're doing.
One of the lessons, so I studied under Dr. Hutter also as an ag teacher. My undergrad was communications, and my post-bac was ag ed.
Okay, I didn't know you went back.
So I went back because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Sure. And Dad's like, "We'll teach," and I'm like, "Okay." Yeah. I swore off teaching because both parents were teachers, and I didn't want to follow in their footsteps.
That's what my son says,
rebel. But I remember one of the things that Dr. Hutter always quoted was, "Don't reinvent the wheel." Yeah. There was, your ag teachers teach soil and crop science, livestock, leadership, mechanics, welding in the shop. I mean, everything, floriculture, horticulture. The lessons are so diverse, and you don't have to be an expert on all of those. And there's some lesson out there that you can work with. So don't reinvent it. Yeah,
that's true. It's absolutely true. And one thing that helped me was, even though I didn't grow up on a large farm, just that farm experience was so important because you could tell stories. If we're teaching this lesson, well, here's what happened to me. And so that's very important. That's one thing that when you asked earlier that changes, because there's less and less farmers, that means there's less and less farm kids, and that means there's less farm kids becoming ag teachers. So we are seeing a shift in kids that have future ag teachers that have real farm experience. So I think that's important. In fact, my current teaching partner, Tristan Dennis, worked for your dad. So because he wanted to be an ag teacher, but I knew he needed farm experience. So I said, you got to go work for a farmer. And so
he survived the Bellis farm, and he can survive anything. We've all worked there, and it was not easy.
I worked there too. So
it was not easy.
But anyway, he needed that farm experience, and I know that made a difference for what he did. So.
Well, you mentioned student teaching. If I could quote my dad, that was one thing that he always, you could get a provisional certificate to teach early, many years ago, because there's always been a shortage of ag teachers. But with that provisional certificate, you didn't student teach. And being able to get your feet wet in the classroom, you can't learn that out of a book.
It's essential. I think student teaching is the most important class you'll take. And I've had 27 student teachers over my teaching career.
Jeez, and how many years have you been teaching?
This is the 27th year. So
you've had a student teacher every single year.
Well, we've had not every year, but we've had maybe 2 at once.
Okay,
a lot of that. And not just me, but like
your program.
Our program did. So, so I had to, but I've worked with 27 of them at our where I worked. So, but that's important, and I think it's the most important thing you could do. We've had some student teachers that didn't make it to our school, and because of the teacher shortage we've had in the last few years, got offered jobs, and we just begged them, don't do that. Do not take this job. Might be in their hometown or close to their hometown. Don't take this job until you student teach. And they would, because they're broke college students, and they would take it.
You need that paycheck.
And you got to. But in my opinion, it really hampered their growth as a teacher because they were trying to figure it out and didn't have that experience of somebody else's students to practice on. So it's the most essential thing. I'd love to see where we could, because one of the problems we have in ag teaching is that because of agriculture, education, all those things and all the diverse things we need to learn, some programs are making kids get like 150 hours to graduate with a 4-year degree.
How do you have time for them?
You have to take summer classes. You got to take internships, those kind of things, just to try to make it 4 years. Most of them's about 4.5, but we've got to, my opinion, we need to get rid of some of those gen eds and make sure that future teachers are mandated to student teach, because if we want to have high quality educators, that's the most important thing they can do.
And limiting their education does not create high quality educators for our kids.
No, they've got to have that experience. And I wish we could get students that want to be teachers in the classroom way sooner than
Earlier.
the last semester. And yes, they can observe. They go observe for a few hours as a junior or something, but they need those experiences early on. Just a great example, I feel like we need to get teachers that opportunity to teach younger kids so they get the feeling, the essence of what teaching is, because you can't, to stay in it, you got to feel the good stuff. That's hard to quantify, but for example, we have a young lady that's in college now, and she wants to be an ag teacher. Well, we had some 4-H kids in this 4-H club we have, and they want to do the poultry judging contest. And so I said, well, I've got the person for you. So I hooked her up with these 4-H kids. She taught them last year and this year. She gets to learn how to teach with a small group of kids, but then they went and competed. In fact, they just did this last week, and they won the state 4-H poultry contest.
Oh, wow.
So those are the things that I think we need to do to get teachers to stay in the profession, is get that opportunity to learn, to get those feelings of what it's like to teach somebody to do something and then see them succeed doing what you're trying to teach.
Well, I think that being an ag teacher is really hard, and there's lots of struggles, there's lots of discomforts, there's lots of failures, and so if you can have those wins, those feel-good moments early on and as often as possible, it helps you as a teacher stay motivated.
Yes.
And encouraged.
Yes, I totally agree, because that first year teaching is tough.
Let's go to your first year teaching. Where'd you start out at?
Started at Richland,
Okay,
Missouri.
good. I was going to call that out, but it's like my memory might suck, but it was Richland.
Yeah. So when I was looking for a job, now in the last few years, it's easy to get an ag teaching job. There's so many open. But when I was getting out, there was just enough teachers coming out to cover the jobs, but it was tough. So anyway, my goal was, I thought, okay, if I can do this, I'm just going to try to get a single teacher program, but I wanted to get it just outside. I wanted to get it outside of the Southwest District, because it's traditionally the most competitive, and back in the early 2000s.
Most competitive.
Yeah, there was some complete legends that were teaching just everywhere, and I thought, man, that's tough. So went to South Central District and got my feet wet there. My first week, I wasn't even getting paid yet, but one reason...
You start July 1st, right?
Yeah, I start July 1st. One reason I think I got the job was they have a pretty good county fair at Richland.
They do, Tri-County Fair.
Yeah, I was just beginning at that time. It hadn't been going very long, that I don't think. I mean, just it was in its infancy. So there wasn't a lot of people that knew how to get cattle ready and show animals, and so... But they just had a steer show. They just had a market animal, hogs and lambs, no breeding livestock. Well, anyway, had all these kids showing steers because you could sell the animal, and it was. And then they had the Lebanon Fair, Lee County Fair the next
week,
couple weeks or something. Maybe it's the next week.
Yeah.
And so they could get 2 steers, go to 2 shows, sell them if they made the sale, and make some money.
Yeah.
It was very good. But anyway, my first week before I started, I went to this guy's place. Don McMahon was his name, and it was in this old horse barn. And I brought my clippers. Nobody had any clippers, so the only the old oysters, big old
heavy
flatheads,
rattled.
and then the big old sheep head clippers.
Before the world of Andes.
Yeah, so we brought those, and I clipped 46 head of steers in 2 days.
Good thing you were young.
Yeah, I don't know what we were thinking. And so we did, I mean, and they were the old, just old slick-hided calves. There was none of this.
Hardly
hair.
broke.
Yeah.
Really just heads and tails.
We just clipped their heads and necks, just get the rough spots. But I think those people thought, oh, this is great, because they didn't have any idea. And so I'll never forget that. I don't know what I was thinking. And the teacher I replaced watched the whole time. And
Didn't help you at all?
Well, he did, but he didn't really.
No.
Wasn't his thing.
Yep.
And so, again, they were just learning, and then there was another ag teacher that showed up from somewhere else, and I can't remember who that was, but it was an interesting week.
So how many years were you at Richland?
Just taught there for 2 years, and had a great experience. Those people were so good to me. They worked me like a dog. I mean, they were just so excited. And then that first year, about my third week on the job, I was to put on a tractor pull.
Mm-hmm. They still have a big tractor pull there.
Yeah. So we had a tractor pull, and then as I was there, they were just starting talking about one of these outlaw pulls because the Brackett family was there, and they did that, and so that's where that outlaw pull got started. So I kind of got involved in the infancy of that, but I'd never even been to a tractor pull, and so I had to help put one on, sell the ads real quick. I'd run the concession stand, and then I'll never forget. I said, Bob, the guy replaced Bob Yearsley. I said, who handles the running of this? Well, you do. So I don't know how to do this. He said, the guy at the scales will take care. He knows all the rules. And so we got started that night, and I said, so.
It was a sanctioned pull, right?
It wasn't. I thought it was.
Okay, good.
And so I asked the guy at the scales, said, so what are the rules? Just whatever you want.
It's how you learn.
I'm like, I have no idea. So.
Okay, so let's go back a minute, because one thing we've not talked about and many people don't realize is ag teachers are 12-month contracts.
Yep.
You are your first day of teaching is July 1.
Yep.
And many people think teachers August to May, and that is not your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So you've talked about the craziest things that have happened your first year. They weren't even in the classroom yet. You were months away from the classroom.
No, I was just meeting kids, and here I was putting on all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know? So ag teachers in Missouri have been year-round contracts for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been lots of people in our state that have fought to keep that because we believe that a good ag ed program is a year-round program. You know, if we're going to have students having SAEs and have livestock or farming SAEs, well, it doesn't stop in the summer. And so not that I'm integrally important to all these kids as projects, but we do try to visit those kids in the summer and that sort of thing. So help them at shows and that sort of stuff, but it is a year-round program.
So I'm going to come back to SAEs in just 1 second. Year-round program, intracurricular.
Okay.
We use the term extracurriculars in the school systems.
Yeah.
That is sports, FBLA, clubs like that. FFA and agriculture education, intracurricular. What does that mean? Okay,
so we had ag ed started in 1917, and it started with this idea of what we call the three-circle model.
I still picture them.
Yeah, and so that's the classroom and laboratories, FFA, and SAEs.
Supervised agricultural experiences.
So the idea is that we as ag teachers teach skills and teach things in the classroom and laboratories, and then those skills you should be able to go home and use in your SAEs and those types of things. And then we also use it in FFA where we have competitions and things, and they can also use those skills they learn in the classroom as well as their SAEs to compete in judging contests, public speaking contests, those types of things to give them competition. And then the FFA component gives them the recognition that they earn or compete for, and then also gives them a way to compete against other people. And I think competition always creates more learning. So,
well, I think you inside the classroom, outside the classroom, year round.
Yep.
And it's perpetually year round.
Yep.
Okay, let's dive back into SAEs. Supervised agricultural experience projects. What are they?
Well, they can be, like I say, Ag Ed was started with the idea that students would have their own projects that they do at home or outside the classroom. So traditionally, when it started in the early 1900s, we're thinking about farming.
Right. Cows, plows.
Typical things, farming. And so as it's progressed to 2026, where we talked about there's already less farmers, less farm kids, there still are those kids, which I'm blessed in Mount Vernon. We're going to have more farm kids longer than most. And so that's good. But also we have lots of kids that don't have that opportunity. And so we've expanded where they can get jobs in agriculture. And so our goal is that our kids get something by the time they graduate that they can call an SAE, because when they're freshmen, sophomores, they can't drive, so that's tough for mom and dad if they live in town. It's just kind of hard for a kid to have a good SAE, but it's not impossible. My teaching partner, his SAE was in his backyard in town, much to his mother's chagrin, but he raised bees and quail and rabbits and all kinds of crazy things.
Well, and that's a testament to the diversification in it.
Yes. And so we have students that, can work in food service. We've got students that work at the parts store. In fact, I've had a long-term relationship with the manager there. If he's trying to hire somebody, he'll call me. In fact, got that relationship with several people in town that call me and say, who you got? Who can we hire? What about this person? So that's where I can help with those kinds of things. So that's another hat that I wear, some kind of
job placement. Well, I'll tell you what, that's my whole life we had a high schooler working for us.
Yeah,
on the farm.
That's right.
My whole life. We had so many. I just laugh because Dad would start calling him Dwayne, and I'm like, Dad, his name's not Dwayne, but it was his uncle that was Dwayne. That Dad had us in class, So we had dozens
I've
and
heard him do that.
dozens of kids, and so we currently have a high schooler at our farm in Lebanon. We called Mrs. Miller, Haley Miller, ag teacher up there, and said, hey, we need help because it is hard to find help on the farm. Young girl, just turned 16 years old, lives in town, doesn't know anything, but ready to learn.
Yeah.
And that is the best hired hand on the farm, is someone willing to show up and willing to learn. Yeah. And so it's just a testament to the diversity and what that SAE can be. But it is those skills, those hands-on opportunities, that learning, but the core to that is record keeping and how you're creating a business, a project that you have to manage. I don't think that you have the big blue record books with yellow or with green and pink pages anymore.
Well, they're close. We still use those.
Okay, good.
Most of the state, it's a big debate, but probably
I like a good debate.
I'd say 60% of us still use those record books you're talking about. It's just they're on Excel now.
Okay, you print them out.
Yeah, we don't do them in pencil anymore. In fact, I only did them in pencil my first year teaching, and then I got us moved to Excel, and I never went back. And then now there's another record keeping system that's called AET, that's more web based, that other programs are using, but I'm too close to retirement to switch.
You don't want to learn something new.
No.
Okay, so why is it important though?
Well, it is, like you say, record keeping is important, and every time that we update record books, students always say, gosh, I don't have any money. Where'd all that go? And so while our record keeping is not perfect, because we're only keeping track of their SAE, I don't make them track their personal expenses because I just don't want to deal with all that. But
their parents probably don't want to know that reality check either.
So, but anyway, they do think, wow, I made this much money. Where did it go? And so I think it's important. Another thing I think is important is because we're still using Excel, and the way I understand it, still in the industry, most places still use Excel.
Absolutely.
And so when you use
it every day.
Yeah, when you use that web-based system, they're not seeing Excel. And then high schools have gone to Google Sheets and Google products, similar but not the same. And so one thing, just a little small thing that's funny, is when people started going back and forth on those two things, kids today have to be taught how to save their work.
Because it's not autosave.
Yes. And so that's something that's just mind-blowing. And then when you point to the top left of Excel and says, see that little disk up there, floppy disk? They're like, you mean that square?
Now you can get Excel that's browser-based.
Yes, you can, but we don't have it at we do have it at our school, but...
Because mine still autosaves.
Yeah, well, ours doesn't. But anyway, nonetheless, so that's something we learned.
Okay, so the FFA motto. I use this in my everyday life still.
Yeah.
And I wear a banking hat mainly today. Learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve.
Sure.
Those words were written, I don't remember. My FFA knowledge is a little sparse.
Yeah, I can't remember the date, but they've been around a long time.
But are they still true in the classroom?
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's still so important. One thing that's different about teaching now as opposed to when I started was kids today grow up with everything recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not willing to try something new unless they know what they're doing. They're not as willing,
Afraid
I should
to
say.
make mistakes.
Because they don't want to make mistakes because somebody could be recording them. That's totally different. Now, this new law about getting the cell phones out of classrooms has been tremendous.
I agree.
Tremendous. But still, that still affects you every day. And then, but it's still important. And that's what we try to do. I've started, I have no idea, probably now thousands of kids welding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a professional welder. In fact, we've built lots and lots of projects, but I enjoy everything but the welding part. I can do it, but I love all the planning, teaching them how things go together and watching them struggle to do that, but then helping them figure out how things go together. And then I'll help them get all set up and then say, okay, weld it now, And so, but we've had, I've had taught hundreds and hundreds of kids how to weld. Had several kids that go on and become professional welders. I have no idea how many, but a lot. And so they get that extra training they need. But again, that's just getting them started. Teaching those skills are so important. That's kind of what I think our job is, just teach the basic things to at least get them some idea of what's going on out there, and then they can go from there and learn more.
I think one of my it used to be a great party trick, and I'm pretty rusty, so I've embarrassed myself. But Mrs. Gaddy was my ag teacher, and I was on the floriculture team.
Sure.
And I loved the floriculture team, and wherever I would go as a young adult, wherever I went, I was like, that's a bam, that's a bam, that's a bam. And it was just a fun little party trick.
Yes.
To be able to still identify the cut flowers, the house plants, and all that. I'm still rusty because I'm looking at the plant behind you, and I was like, crap, I can't even remember what that was called.
Well, I agree. Now, I don't know the flowers I haven't had to teach that one very much. Had some good partners that do that. But I did learn the agronomy contest, which is like 100 plants, and that is pretty fun when a kid starts to get it, because I said, now you'll subconsciously start finding yourself walking through the yard, fescue, buckhorn plantain, dandelion, all those things, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When you can do that.
I remember my first year of teaching, I taught at McDonald County and Consolidated County School District, so big school, and big poultry space. And I was tasked to be, I had animal science.
Yeah.
And I was teaching the poultry team for CDE, and I was like, oh, crap, I don't know anything about chickens. But I learned it, and I figured it out, and I still to this day, random fact, it takes, Richard Roller taught me this, name-dropping all these legends.
Yeah.
It took 3 whole chickens to cut up every part on the parts part of the poultry contest. So silly facts that you still remember to this day.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about CDEs, career development events.
Sure.
And what are they? Why are they important? You've kind of hit on it, but let's talk about some of the competitions and why that drives learning.
Yeah, so we just completed district contest this week at Missouri State. And
you worn out?
Yeah, I'm pretty tired. In fact, I was in the drive-thru at McDonald's this morning getting my daughter something to eat, and she goes, I just said, here, hand her my money. She goes, well, you look tired. Well, okay.
Yeah, Cameron, I am.
No, the lady at McDonald's.
Oh, I thought it was
not
your
my
daughter.
The lady at McDonald's. She opened the window and said, well, you look tired. I thought, well.
That's humbling.
Okay, anyhow.
But then I made you come sit with me.
Yeah, so we have lots of contests. Probably the beginning of all contests was probably livestock judging, where you evaluate beef, pigs, lambs, and now we do goats. So we got all kinds of things from that too. You mentioned flowers, floriculture, where they identify 140 flowers, agronomy, ag sales is one we do.
I loved ag sales.
Been pretty successful. I enjoy that. Ag mechanics. Ag mechanics is probably the most practical contest we have. to lead into a career, in my opinion. What else do we have? We have forestry, dairy cattle judging,
Dairy foods.
poultry, dairy foods. We have a
Soils.
new one, food science, soils. So,
What's food science?
Food science is new. It's just like it's a lot of biochemistry, that's the hard part. So that's
lab
hard.
stuff.
But then also just simple things like smelling aromas of food flavorings. You have to smell these aromas and determine what they are. And then like triangle tests where you determine two are the same, one's a different, like name brand versus off brand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And then a lot of things about HACCP plans and sanitation and food service and those kind of things. So that gets really deep. And then so just a lot of things. And then public speaking has been one FFA's done forever that's important. Probably
The leadership side of FFA.
yeah, a lot of leadership things. And probably, in my opinion, public speaking is probably the greatest thing we can do for a high school kid. Whether they're successful or not, it's the best thing they can do for themselves in the high school.
100%.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I remember in the freshman year. We talked about my dad training public speakers my whole life. It didn't come natural to me. I was scared
me
to
neither.
death. Sick to my stomach.
Yep.
Still, I have a public speaking event coming up next week, and I just thought about it, and my stomach just sunk. It's like you can put me in front of 100 microphones and cameras, and it doesn't necessarily make it easy.
Yeah.
But it all started the ability for me to zip up that blue corduroy jacket and step into this role. Maybe it was fake Jamie. I've learned this fake confidence.
Sure. But that's what it's about.
It was, and it pushed me outside of my comfort zone, and that's what I loved. And even after teaching, I've trained many public speakers since.
Yeah.
And just those aha moments, them understanding what it means to share their story.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of success in it. Well, I haven't. My students have, and they never forget those things, and that's probably the best thing that you can do for yourself. And had lots and lots of kids win state contests, and just and whether they do or not, they always say, "Man, that was good." And you're talking about. I would say you probably were. I don't know if you were actually an introvert ever, but you might have been. I was. And
I was not an introvert. I was always an extrovert, but it was the type of extrovert that I choose who I want to be extroverted with. It's not necessarily a natural thing, but I'm always a talker.
So even the introverts I've had over the years, I'll tell them those sometimes become the best public speakers.
Sure.
And I don't know why that is, but I've seen it many, many times. Just because you're an extrovert doesn't mean you're going to be any good at it.
No.
And but it's been fun to live and see kids really learn that craft has been fun for me to teach. I enjoy doing that.
Well, I think of what you get to experience with them outside of those competitions. You're spending 5, 6, 7 days a week with these kids, traveling with them in the classroom, taking them to contests. But you're getting I remember some of the best aha moments was that kid learning how to tip at a restaurant. And how to be polite in public.
Yeah.
Some of these kids hadn't left the county, or they're experiencing things that
there.
Yes, McDonough County, pretty rural, and let alone putting them on a plane and taking them to WLC with me, Washington Leadership Conference. I think that it was so many life lessons that ag teachers got to teach because of those competitions and because of those leadership opportunities.
Kind of a weird story is I had a kid took to WLC once from Miller, and he met this girl from Ohio, and I had no idea that happened, that he met this girl. They're married and live in Republic.
And they met
at WLC.
That's pretty cool.
So those are weird things that happen sometimes.
Did you get credit for that at their wedding?
I hope not. But it did happen. And just think about, I remember when he told me he was getting married and told me all about it, and I said, what?
I met Kevin through MABA.
Yeah, sure.
He was my ambassador.
So I tell kids, they never take me seriously. I say, well, you might meet your future spouse today.
That's what I love to hear, too. Because they're like,
you never know. So.
The boys do grow up, I promise.
Yeah, they do, maybe.
Okay. Community support.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you a secret sauce question in a minute. We'll get to some of your most recent programs, but there is no successful agricultural education program without the community.
Yeah.
And that doesn't come natural.
No. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's important. And I don't know how, I'm not sure how you tell a student teacher to do it. It's just you got to be in the situation. But I think the main thing is we have had some good community support over the years, done some great things. But I think it's mostly just somebody being willing to work hard, teach every day, teach kids. And then I think the community sees it. Okay, they're doing stuff. And they're willing to jump in there after, they don't want to see somebody that's not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are willing to jump in there and get to work and just, expect things to happen. Like, let me give you an example. When I moved to Mount Vernon, I was looking around. We wanted to provide laboratories and better facilities for students. And so Mr. Pruitt and I were just talking. I said, we need an animal science lab where we could teach real hands-on skills. And I said, we're just going to build one. So there was a little bit of space right behind the ag building that was flat. And we just said, okay, if we did this, here's what we could use. So we had students design a couple designs given the space. And it's an awkward triangle-shaped space. Mm-hmm. But it's handy. And so we had some students in animal science develop some plans. And we kind of meshed them together. And then went to the administration and said, can we do it if we can get the money? And so they said, yeah, sure. If you can get the money, you can do it. So
it's all about the money.
We just sent out some letters and explained what we wanted to do and just asked them to contribute. And all of a sudden, we started getting some money in. I sent out the letters a week later, got $1,000 in the mail, and we just got started. And we even didn't have all the money before we started. So we built a corral out back where we can just work cattle. We made it where it'll hold small animals and that sort of thing. But we can bring them in, have a place to give hands-on skills. One thing I learned, I don't know if this was like for you, but you may have been a farm kid, but the farm kids may not be the ones giving the shots.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Dad.
Yeah,
You're in the back moving the cattle up. So I realized sometimes the farm kids have never done that stuff either. So we bring in some livestock and be able to do that. We've even had every year we've been putting in embryos and some cows, and
that's such a cool opportunity.
Where our students are, but we bring a vet in.
Yeah, they get to see it.
But they get to see it.
They get to see
it's a thing.
Well, because otherwise you're learning on an orange with a syringe and how to give a sub-Q or intermuscular.
Right. And so we've just brought in real animals, and the facilities are safe. And our students, the other cool thing is about that animal science lab is our students built it. Mm-hmm. And
free labor.
Yeah. In that particular year, again, one of those kids actually became a professional welder. He's got his own business today.
He had a resume before he graduated.
Yeah, but these three kids built this thing.
That's so cool.
And but before we started, we just said we're going to do this. And I don't know. I just felt like we're just going to set the vision. And we just didn't stop till it was done. Mm-hmm. And
it's kind of that cliche, build it and they will come.
Yeah.
And in that sense, the kids come.
Yeah.
But the community comes too.
Yep, they did. And we had guys donate rock. We had a guy donate his time to we didn't have a post driver, so he drove the steel posts. Mm-hmm. And then after those posts were driven, then the kids took it from there. And so, it's been a great hands-on learning tool.
Motivation. Mm-hmm. We kind of talked about how you stay motivated, how a teacher stays motivated. But I remember, I joke about only teaching 2 years, but I remember putting everything in, my heart, my soul, into it, and being so tired, so drained, so burnt out, so early.
Yeah.
But one of the things that that was so hard and almost hurt is like, you care so much. How do you make that kid care? Or how do you make that kid see what you see in them?
That's a great question.
For 30 years.
I don't know. It's, kids are still kids. They're still basically the same. But basically, they got to know you care about them. And it's not anything that you do, I don't know, I don't make some dramatic thing about it, but you just talk to them like normal people.
Mm-hmm.
And you just expect, I think it's important to set high expectations, and you just expect them to do this stuff, and just tell them, well, this is what you got to do. Don't expect low things, because that's what you're going to get. But I think probably just setting high expectations, because if you do, most kids will meet you there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't set high ones, they definitely won't. They will not. I don't care how good they are. They won't meet you there. So I think in terms of motivation, it's just, now not all of them will get to the level you're telling them. You know what I mean? It's just, but if you expect them to get there, most of them will get there or get close, or at least do better than they normally would have done. And we just tell them, we just expect these things, and we also tell them, if you're not going to do it, then this probably isn't the place for you. I learned from Mr. Whitaker the term table drooler, and I still use this day. If you're just a table drooler that's just going to put your head down and drill my table, this is not the place for you. And so, but if you want to learn something, do something, these are the kids we want.
I can hear him say
yeah. And we're another thing I always say is we're just always in the market for smart kids, and so.
And I think that, like traditionally, FFA ag classes was boys only. It wasn't until 1969. I do remember that FFA knowledge question that women were allowed to be an FFA. But it also moved from FFA, meaning Future Farmers of America, to it just being the initials of FFA, because there's not everybody in your programs come from farms or are going to be farmers. So you're literally many great chapters across the state. They're getting all the smart kids, all the hardworking kids, because they see the success and they see what they can gain from it. Many chapters have over half of the kids in the whole school in their programs.
Yeah. We at Miller, of course, it was a small 1A school, 50 kids a class. We would have at the high like 135 kids out of 200 in our program, which was a lot. And then moved to Mount Vernon. There's probably a little over 100 kids a class there. And then we've got the last 4 years we had about 210 every year. So, so setting expectations of, I tell student teachers all the time, if a kid comes in and says, what are we doing today? That's what you want. But if they come in and say, are we doing anything today? Then you're on the wrong path.
Okay.
And
simple language.
Yeah. But if a kid says, what are we doing today? They know that you expect them to do something. And so I think that's a big difference. But those programs that aren't being successful, you'll hear that a lot. Are we doing anything today? And that's a big difference. So maybe I lost what you were saying. What
no,
question was,
motivation. It was just just the kids, the right kids.
You got to build a relationship, positive relationship. That's really probably the main thing in motivating students, is you just got to build that relationship. I'm not talking some dramatic thing.
Yeah.
Just talk to them about things when you get a chance.
So you got the classroom. You got contest teams, you've got the shop, you've got those the creation of those leadership opportunities. What's your favorite part of the job?
That's a good question. I mean, I think just watching a kid learn something, do something that they never could have done before. So it's fun to see a kid win a contest. That's always fun. But even I remember years ago had a girl in my ag sales class, and I got her to go to a contest, but literally she would physically shake just talking to me one-on-one. And I mean physically shake like this. So I thought,
oh, bless her heart.
Oh, it was awful. And so I thought, so for that girl, it's not about winning the contest. It's just about doing it.
Getting up there.
And so I got her to go to one. And she went, and she beat a few kids. Not many, but a few. And so I thought, hey, that's a win. So those things are a big deal. And just I like seeing when a kid, in the shop, I love when they see them put something together, or they figure out angles and just how things fit together, because some kids can't see at all how something's supposed to fit together. And to me, I've just always been able to do that, and I can't understand when kids can't.
We don't
they
all
can't.
learn the
Oh
same,
my goodness.
Jay.
No. But when they see it come together and just see things come together, that's the stuff that I like. Yeah.
So you have taught Richland, Miller,
Yep.
Mount Vernon.
And Mount Vernon.
And so 30 years, 3 schools. How many years
Not
were
30
you?
yet, but I'm
Almost. Okay,
I'm at 27.
27 years.
But I was at Richland 2, Miller 14. This is the 11th at Mount Vernon.
Miller, small 1A school. You were there with Lyle Whitaker.
Yep.
That program, you two built up to be a dynamic program.
Yeah.
What are one or two of those moments that you'd be proud of?
Yeah, so we did. We had lots of success. But it was, what I remember about it when we started was when I was leaving Richland, I thought, okay, I did okay in contests, South Central District, did pretty good. But I thought I need to learn how to take the next step, I need to learn how to be a better teacher. So whenever I was looking for a new job, it's time to kind of get closer to home, that sort of thing. I like that because we were going to have a baby and you need help always. So
yeah,
wanted to move back. But anyway, I thought I want to work with somebody that can teach me how to be a better teacher. So I didn't know Mr. Whitaker at all, but I've heard about him because they were twins, and I kind of heard their
Lyle and Kyle.
reputation, and they were good at it. So found a little school and Miller's in the same county I grew up in. I didn't even know Miller was in Lawrence County.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, until I interviewed for that job. So
Other side of the interstate.
I had no idea. And but anyway, started there, and one thing he'll tell you is that he says that he wanted to be a better teacher. I would make him a better teacher. And so I didn't understand that because I wasn't that good when I started at year 3. But
it's a testament to forever learning.
Yeah. And what I think it was just both of us just working pretty hard to be good at it and be successful, make kids successful. And certainly that first year we weren't where we ended up being, and so you asked about a couple of moments. One of the coolest ones we had was my first year at Miller. I had some senior boys in class, and one of them was Scott Hill, and just had him 1 year, moved there when he was a senior, but started doing his record book and that sort of thing, get his record book caught up. He had a tremendous SAE and ended up, we ended up his senior year, he won a state proficiency award for working for a guy named Jeremy Rathman training horses. And so, well, that's cool. Well, he happened to have 40 horses at home with his grandpa, mares, before the horse market went south. So he was selling a few colts and that sort of thing, training horses. And so then he was training his own horses and selling them anyway. And then he had some cows. And unfortunately, he inherited 80 acres when his dad died when he was 12. So that, certainly he always says he'd never trade. But because of that 80 acres, he was able to start a pretty good SAE and won that his senior year. So then we thought, well, okay, next year as a graduate, you can fill out proficiency award as well. So then he went on, well, let me back up. He went on to be a national finalist that fall and won the National Equine Placement Proficiency Award. So we're thinking, okay, well, this is quite a project. And then he had all these horses home. So then the next year he won equine entrepreneurship and became a national finalist the next year. And so we're like, okay. And he was going to be a farmer no matter what. And he was a guy that, he's one of those guys that's not, maybe, I don't know, he seemed like a guy that's not afraid to take risk. Maybe he is, but he doesn't seem like it. So he's able to take risk, and we held his American degree till the very last year, which I think you can turn in 6 years of records.
Until you're 21?
Yeah, till you're 21. So literally, Scott knows it, we talk about it all the time, but I had moved to Mount Vernon in 2005. So literally, he would bring me shoe boxes of receipts. And I can still see him dumping them out on my kitchen table. And I remember saying, you do the telling, I'll do the typing. And so I started typing his record book. He'd open up a receipt and, all right, here's what we did. So we did all that and got all that caught up. And then he went on to be the Star American Farmer in 2005, which is kind of like winning the Heisman Trophy in college football.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that was we looked it up, and I think it's IUPUI holds all the history of FFA winners and stuff.
Okay.
So we looked it up. Nobody had won Star American Farmer from Missouri since 1939, I believe, and nobody's won it since from Missouri.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I got
so
goosebumps.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I got goosebumps.
So that was fun, and so that was a good moment. And then one of the funnier moments was. I think it was 2009. We went to state contest, and we had a whale of a year. I think we only took 7 teams, but we ended up winning. What was it? Soils. We won 3 state contests, and I think we had 5 teams on the stage.
You've been so successful for the years, you can't even remember which year.
So I think we had 5 teams on the stage. We won a state speaking contest, advanced speaking. We won it. We were second in the National Chapter Award. We had a state officer. And I'll never forget, Craig Grisham said, my gosh, this is like the Miller Banquet here at State Convention. So,
coming from a legend himself.
Oh, yeah. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I remember calling the newspaper, and I said, hey, we had a pretty good year.
We're going to need the whole paper.
I don't care what it takes, but I want every picture in there, and I don't want you to cut them down. I'll pay for it, whatever it takes. And I mean, they put this huge write-up in there that was on the headlines. They wrote the letter to the editor about us, and it said on the headline, Miller hits a haymaker at the state contest. And the funny thing was, and if he sees this, he may not remember this, but Mr. Garrett, one of your teachers at Jay, he was at Mount Vernon at the time, said, how in the world did you get the paper to do all that? I said, well, we just asked, Randy. I don't know. And so, but that was fun too when we had that year. It was crazy. It was crazy enough that we had the only team that didn't make the stage was an agronomy team, and they were 7th in the state.
Oh, that's.
And and I remember this one girl was so upset about it, and I'm like,
this is such an
that's
awesome.
incredible. Yeah. So anyway.
Well.
But success breeds success.
It
Once
does.
you get that going, it works.
And you brought that to Mount Vernon.
Yeah, I mean.
I still look back and I'm like, dang it. You missed me by 2 years.
Was it just 2 years?
I graduated
really?
in 03.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, if I'd have gone there. But so when I moved to Mount Vernon, Stephen Pruitt was there. And when the job came open, Mr. Hames retired, I really wasn't looking to move because we did have a good program.
Yeah.
But also, Mr. Whitaker is about 10 years ahead of me, so I thought, well, he'll be retiring soon. And then I was at Miller's 14 years, and I had 16 different administrators.
You kept running them off?
No, I don't think so. But I just I got tired of explaining them every other year why we're doing what we're doing.
Right.
And here's what we're doing. So I got tired of that and thought, well, I would, if I'm going to make it to the end, which I'm sort of at the end now, I needed to get to a place where it didn't change. So I got tired of it. And so I got that at Mount Vernon. Well, anyway, when Mr. Pruitt called me, I told him no immediately. I said, no, I'm not interested. And so, I don't know. I remember I was actually at the research farm of the contest practice, and Mr. Whitaker called me and said, hey, that job's open. You ought to look at it. And I thought, why in the world are
He's pushing you out.
Why are you telling me that? But really, it was just being a good friend.
Yeah,
you know.
He knew it was best for you.
But I really hadn't thought about it. And so, but then I thought, well, my son's going to be in 8th grade next year.
Now would be the time to move.
And if I'm going to move, this is the only time. And that job's good enough, it's not going to come open again. And I was right. It didn't. But anyway, Mr. Pruitt and I don't remember when, but I know for 4 years, probably wasn't the first year, but for 4 years in a row, we qualified the most teams of the district every year, 4 years in a row. And so we didn't have quite as much success that 1 year at Miller yet, but we have had plenty. And but it's been good. So, and we've continued that.
So you've kind of talked about, well, okay, let's go. Mount Vernon's my alma mater.
Sure.
I still bleed green.
Sure.
You were there a few years with my mom.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another thing. I knew she'd be our counselor.
Yeah.
So that was a draw as well.
Yeah. A counselor that supports your ag program is key.
Yeah. Yes.
Because they can be like, I will make that work for you.
Yeah. So I've worked with two really good ones. Carla Bellis was one. And then before that, Vicki Baker. She was tremendous. Her husband used to be an ag teacher.
Oh, okay.
And so she was really good too. So yes. And then my first counselor was my first ever FFA president's mother.
Oh, see, core
So
support
it's-
throughout the entire
it's
school.
key. Yeah.
And
It really
administration, school board, superintendent, all of those are important.
Yes. Yes.
It makes me so proud to see what Mount Vernon is doing and is still to do. I live 2 hours, an hour and a half away, so I don't get to get back home as much, but also want to help out as much as I can and serve as an alumni. As we wrap up, what would you tell a first year teacher today? And then, who are your mentors throughout the years?
Yeah, well, so mentors, your dad was one. Jim Spencer, Albie Boss, those guys. And then the folks, all the guys I student taught for were. And then, there was just so many, Mr. Whitaker, of course. And then there were so many really good teachers that I got to just learn from. And I'm not going to mention all those guys because I'll leave some out. But really just the legends that I got to work with in the profession were so good. But those were kind of the mentors that I had.
I'm going to rephrase my second question, though.
Yep.
I asked about first year teacher. Let's skip that question. I have a better one, and that is on agriculture education.
Sure.
How would you tell, what's your 30-second elevator speech on why agriculture education is still as important today as it was in 1917?
Well, we still have to feed people, and that's really what it boils down to. Agriculture still has to feed people. So we're going to have to produce more food in the next 30 years. I think I've read that than ever in the course of human history. We're going to have to produce more in the next couple of decades than ever before combined. So we still got to have people that want to do that. And so we have to teach kids the basics, whether you never know what you're teaching, what they could actually use. You just never know all that stuff.
What they're grasping, what they're
You never know who's going to be successful and who's not. And sometimes those kids that maybe weren't super successful in the classroom or in the contest area, they will be successful. And they'll sometimes credit you for things that you didn't know you did.
Well, Emily Paul. That's not her name anymore. What's her name? Kraus.
Yeah.
She didn't take your job at Miller. There was someone in between.
No, she did.
She did?
She followed me.
No, that doesn't
Yes,
fit timeline. Because
Yes, it
she was
does.
my teacher. I was her teacher.
Yeah, but she
In McDonough
followed
County.
me. She came in
Then
2015.
You said 2005.
That's when I had Scott as a senior.
Oh, okay. I missed you by much longer. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's
okay.
what I thought.
So
You
I was
missed me by
confused on the dates.
Yeah.
So Emily Paul was my student at McDonough County.
Right. Okay.
And she would have been my least likely student to ever be an ag teacher.
Yeah.
Now, her mom was a teacher. It was in her blood. But she had nothing to do with agriculture. She was in FFA because her friends were, and it was a leadership opportunity.
Yeah.
And it was a good program.
Yeah, sure.
And she's still teaching.
Yeah, she sure is. Well, so I've been gone 11 years, so she's been at Miller 11 years.
Yeah.
It's her
And
only
they've
job.
added the, a new building, like an addition.
Yeah, quite a facility.
So it's
so did we, but
right.
also a little interesting part of that, she student taught for my brother.
Oh,
Kind
okay.
of interesting, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Who's also an ag teacher.
Yeah.
So you never know what is
Right.
sticking.
Right.
So I respect that. Okay, we got to wrap up, but one last question.
Sure.
18-year-old Jay Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell yourself?
I have no idea.
Come on, something profound.
I don't have that. I don't know if it's that much profound. I guess probably since since becoming a teacher, I'm convinced was a calling. Probably I would not done anything different, I guess. Sometimes I think I wish I'd have stayed in college just another couple of years to do something different. I don't know what it would have been, but at the same time, when you're in college, the time you get to be about a junior, you're like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, you're ready for that big world.
And so I don't know. I mean, I think probably doing what I'm supposed to do, and it's been good. It's been good.
Well, thank you for joining me in the studio. I also have to say thank you for rescuing me on the way here. I have to make it public because on the way here I had a little car issue. And I was like, no one's close. I'm not in my hometown. Jay's close, and he's a good friend. And he was he made a quick wardrobe change to climb under my car, make a few adjustments, and we weren't too late.
Yeah, glad to do it. That's just what you do. So I've helped the Bellis family with many car issues over the years.
You've helped the Bellis family as a friend, as a neighbor, as a fellow cattleman for decades, and that's what makes it so special to have you sit across the room.
It's been fun. Sure has.
Well, thank you, Jay, for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me for another episode of Beyond the Gate. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. New episodes drop every other Wednesday. For more content, follow Around the Ozarks and Beyond the Gate on Facebook, Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter at aroundtheozarks.com. Join us next time for more stories of grit, growth, and the spirit of rural life.